All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Thursday morning pre-New York session. My name is Ryan. I'm your host. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. I hope everybody is having an awesome morning. And we're ready to get to it. So as always, let's distractions, prepare your minds and your bodies to engage as you guys always do. And for the courtesy of everybody on the call, please ensure that your mic is muted if you're not actively asking a question or making a comment. All right. So let's get to it. We'll take a quick look at fundamentals to see what's coming up from an announcement perspective today. Then we will hop over to the charts and we'll go from there. All right. So real quick, drop me a 1 in the chat if you can hear me okay and if you can see my trading economic screen. Made some changes to my setup yesterday. Sweet. All right. Japan imports hit another record peak, right? Imports to Japan jumped 53.5% year over year to a fresh high, right? People are still spending money, right? People are still spending money. That's really it, right? EU car sales rise for the third month. Passenger car registration in the European Union jumped 12.2% year on year. 745,855 units in October, third consecutive month of growth, right? So even in the EU, they're still buying, right? Still spending money. This is below pre-pandemic levels, quite a bit, but people are still buying nonetheless, right? Still buying nonetheless. So we it's going to be interesting when it comes to interest rate hikes, right? Because one of the goals is to get people to stop spending, right? Or slow down the spending. And that hasn't happened yet, right? We saw it yesterday in the United States, and we're seeing it from this perspective in the EU, okay? So overnight from a article perspective, that's pretty much it, right? Not a ton that happened overnight. When we hop over to the calendar for today, we got autumn forecast statement coming out of the UK, right? This document provides an update on economic outlook and previews the government's budget for the year, for the coming year, including expected spending and income levels, borrowing levels, financial objectives. It also contains comments on the latest independent economic forecast prepared by the OBR. And they also talk about tax cuts, right? Tax cuts, things of that nature in this statement. So that's something that could definitely impact the pound. Could definitely impact the pound today. So keep our eyes on that sometime after 7:30. Then we have some FOMC members coming to the microphone today to speak. And we have Philly Fed manufacturing that could definitely move the dollar pairs a little bit, right? Getting an idea from a manufacturing perspective, what their sentiment on the market is and what they're seeing generally in the manufacturing side of things. They see things and they react to things relatively early, right? So getting that sentiment from the Philadelphia manufacturers could definitely give us some movement in the market as well today. Okay. And that's it for today. And then tomorrow we got retail sales coming out of the UK and President Lagarde speaking at 3:30 a.m. and then home sales for the United States. Okay. So that's it from a fundamental perspective. Any questions there? Nope. Okay. All right, cool deal. So while I switch over, I want to start with pairs that you guys have your eyes on, right? So if you guys have any pairs that you're looking at, that you're thinking about, if you got marked up that you are looking to enter, drop those into the chat and we can take a look at them as a group, see where they are, get your feedback, and you can get mine. All right, we'll start there, and then we'll go into pairs that I got my eyes on. While you guys do that, I do want to show you guys this New Zealand CAD. Right, we're waiting on this to give us a trend line break, and we got that, and we're getting a pullback now. Right, we got a trend line break and a pullback now out of the shallow retracement of 118 and 127 zone. Right, that's what we talked about yesterday morning. So that's one that if this meets your rules, if this is a trade that you take, there you go. All right. Nobody's looking at anything. Pound yen, Aussie dollar. All right, pound yen. Let's check out the beast. So we finally got some movement, right? We haven't got a new fib to pop in yet on the weekly. Once this week closes out, we'll have an official swing high. Right, so this fib will look like this. Bang. All right. That'll be the fib. Just wicked that 382. No, it's still coming down. So we'll see. We'll see what this looks like. But that'll be our new fib there on the weekly time frame. Come down to the daily. We had this head and shoulders action. We'll see it better on the 4-hour time frame. But all right, we had this action here. That didn't give me the low one that I wanted. Right there and right. Doop, doop, doop. If I can click on my pattern. One second, guys. There we go. All right. Maybe. There we go. Head and shoulders action there, right? We came back, retested this neckline zone, and now we're turning back over. Okay. Still haven't got to this 382 off the daily time frame yet, but it looks like we're headed there. Okay. So we get down to the 4, right? You see that head and shoulders action a little bit more clearly there. Okay. Off of the harmonic fib here, you got a 50% retracement matching the extension down here at 167.52. Right. So, and we see, right, price is trying to turn over, right, after retesting this zone, right, trying to turn over and make its way down. Okay. So overall, at least in the short term, right, sentiment on this one is to the downside. Okay. Sentiment is to the downside.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, let's raise my hand first before I speak. Yeah, I was gonna say on my analysis as well, when I done the trend lines, and I believe it's the 3 trend lines to do for the inner outer. Sorry, it's for the long-term trend line, the outer line trend line, and then you got the inner trend line. I've done all 3 of them, and it's broken through the inner trend line.
Okay.
And that's on the 4 hours. So yes, I'm just expecting like a little drop myself to the 1 day, that red line that you've got there.
Yep. Daily support.
The daily support. And of course, maybe perhaps the weekly support as well, which is the blue one, which I've got marked on mine.
Okay. It's a good idea. Good idea. Let's continue walking through it and see, right? So you got those trend line, you got that trend line break, right? Price pull back, got your head and shoulders pattern there, right? Pull back to retest that neckline zone. Now we want to see price continue pushing down, right? So we know, right? Based on a couple of things, right? Based on the daily time frame, right? Our bias is down, right? Coming out of this B boundary 118 zone. Bias is short, right? 382 level is here. Okay. So we'll mark this out just to give us an idea. Okay. 382 level is here. Okay. Turn this green, right? So this is our daily. This is our daily 382. Okay. So we'll bring this down to our lower time frames. All right. And this is how you pull it all together, right? So overall bias down, right? We get that off the higher time frames, right? So come down to the 4-hour time frame, right? And we know we see this head and shoulders pattern, which gives us more insight that our bias is down, right? So now you have your daily 382 here, but you also have your matching D extension off of this 50% retracement is here. So now the take profit zone that we're looking at looks like this, right? Price coming into this zone. Okay. So now we know, right? We got additional points that tell us bias to the downside. Now we're looking at this zone as an area for price to get to at some point. Okay. So now we can take this also down to our lower time frame. Say, okay, let's get to the 1-hour time frame and see what we have there. Okay. So now on your one, here you go, right? Fibs coming from the top down, right? This is what they look like. This is your active fib. You got a 50%, I mean, a 618 retracement off the 1-hour time frame, right? So price pushed into our sweet spot on the 1 hour, consolidated there, and has turned over, right? So now those trend lines that you were referencing, Tyrone, right? Drop them in like that. So that's your trend line moving to the upside. On the 1 hour, hasn't quite broken yet on this retracement move, right? But if you were coming from the low, just like you had them on the higher time frame, yes, you got your trend line break here, and then price is moving to the downside. Okay. So now, right, if someone's not in this trade just yet, right, you'd be waiting for a break of this trend line here, right? If you're already in this, this is an opportunity for you to add to your trade, right? Hold on one second. My bad. This is an opportunity for you to add to your trade, right? Already in the trade to the downside, you got a nice pullback, 618 retracement level. There's your entry opportunity for a second entry, right? To add to the trade with your bias still to the downside. You're matching the extension on the 1 hour, just running your 1 hour fibs is here. So still in line with that daily 382, right? So on all three levels, daily, 4 hour and 1 hour, your bias is kind of confirmed, right? Or strengthened that it's down, right? And this is the zone that we're looking for price to move into, right? So that's how you break that down from the top to the bottom and bring it all together and say, okay, what's my bias? And do I get similar details or the same details on all time frames, right? And so you pull it together like that, say, okay, this is my bias, this is where I'm going, this is my zone that I'm looking to take profit in. Okay. So yeah, you're good work, right? Great work. You identified it, you saw it from the higher time frames, and now you're looking short, right? So now it's about, A, have you entered the trade already, right? Are you in this trade already, Tyrone?
I'm literally looking to get into it in about a few minutes from now.
Okay, what details are you looking for? Or what confirmations are you looking for to enter the trade?
So the confirmation that I'm looking for currently is at the moment when I put my trend line in for the 4 hours, it's still just about floating above. So I'm just waiting for a few more bar stop up to come through.
Sweet.
And then for it to break through my trend line.
Sweet. Looking like that.
I've gone from a bit lower. Let me check. To the very, very low bar there. You see it? The this
here.
one. Yes.
This trend line would have come like so.
Let's take a bit check.
Right. So when you're drawing your trend lines after price is already moving, you want to make sure that you're true to the trend line, right? So when you're drawing the trend line from the low like this, and you're not just looking at this area here, right? You still want to make sure, because the goal of the trend line, right? The goal of the trend line is to get as close to the highest point as possible without cutting off any wicks or bodies, right? This is your highest point to identify the beginning of the reversal.
Yeah.
Okay. So this trend line coming off the low would have come up here. Right. So now you're looking at this movement to the downside and you're looking for an entry off of this zone here. So that's why I would have come down to the 1 hour time frame and just looked at this retracement here. You follow me there?
Yeah.
Okay. Because if you, right, so your trend line probably looks like this. Look, your trend line probably looks like this.
Yes, that's it.
Right. So that's not, yes, you can, right. It gives you this line here, right. But that trend line A isn't tight to price, right. But coming off of the low, that's identifying the actual trend reversal here. Okay. So now when you're looking for an entry off of a pullback, a smaller wave, right? Because these are your larger waves to the upside. When you're looking at an entry off of a smaller wave, you want to drop down to a smaller or lower time frame. Right. So you can drop down to your 1 hour time frame like this and look for that break, or you can even drop down to your 5 minute time frame, right? Zoom all the way back, take a look at it, and you can run your trend line here on your 5. Like so. Right. You see price came down, bounced off your trend line, right? So you're still above your trend line. So you can look at it from this perspective and look for that trend line break, right? Or you can look at it from your 1 hour time frame in this retracement here and look for that trend line break, right?
Right.
Because this is the trend that you're currently monitoring, right? You're not monitoring this larger trend anymore because that trend line has already been broken.
Yeah.
You follow me?
100%. Yeah.
Cool. Great work though. Great work identifying the overall direction, right? And looking at your take profit levels, going to price long-term potentially come down here. Great work, man. Great work.
Thank you. Thanks,
You're welcome. You're welcome. I love it. Right. It's about progress, right? Look at it. And the more you look at it, the better you become.
That's right. Thank you, man.
You're welcome. Benny, good morning, bro.
Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, everybody.
You doing all right, man?
Yeah, hold on. I think I'm going out. You know, I'm down here in the basement.
I know you're down in the basement, bro.
Hold on a second. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, you know, Furnace got me putting in work early in the season.
Man, good luck, bro. Hope it's not too bad.
No, I think we got it. So just I'm finish up working on it and get back on these charts.
No doubt, bro. No doubt, man. All right, get back to it, man.
All right.
All right. So we any questions on this pound yen? No questions.
No questions.
Sweet. All right. So next on the list is the Aussie dollar. Well, Ben was looking at this last night. It started to move. So let's go back to the weekly real quick. Right. So weekly time frame, right? We know overall we got 786 retracement. So our matching D extension is down here at 50373, right? Long term, we're looking for price to get down to that level. Okay. But we're looking at this, right? And we see these lower highs and lower lows, and you see that you had a previous support level, right? 2 to the left, 2 to the right. This was a support level. Bang, right? And look what price did, right? We broke through that previous support, came back, retested that previous support. Boom. Right? Break, retest, right? So it came back to a previous support level. Now we're testing it as resistance. Okay. So that's something key there. That was a weekly support level. So now we get down to the daily time frame, right? And we see that this similar level, right? Similar zone is also daily resistance, right? We got a resistance level here, 2 candles to the left, 2 candles to the right that are lower than the center wick high, right? And that daily resistance level is at a 50% retracement. Yes, it's not in our sweet spot, but Benny talks about all the time adding little caveats into your trading rules that you'll follow consistently. And one of those could be, if I get a 50% retracement in line with a daily, weekly, or monthly support or resistance level, I can enter that trade, right? That's a caveat that you can add to your trading plan as you're building it out and as you're testing, right? To find out, hey, am I comfortable with this, right? Test it to see, okay, is this something that I'm willing to do consistently, right? But that's a caveat that you can have, because this was a weekly support level and now it's a daily resistance level. We're retesting it and you see we're getting a reaction, right? Price is pushing to the downside, boom. And we said we either will get a push down now, or we'll get price to push to the next level and then give us a breakdown. And we see we're getting the reaction now. We're getting the reaction now, okay? So price is moving back down to the downside, okay? So we get down to the 4-hour time frame, and surprise, surprise, we got fibs running to the upside, right? Fibs running off the low to the upside. We got shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. We had some consolidation, price breakdown, right? So 80-20 scenario on the 4-hour, price is moving, bang, right? So now we got a 50% retracement level in line with the previous resistance level, right? Now we could have, this was a daily resistance level, right? That we broke through. We could be coming back to retest that, right? At that level, 50% daily level, right? We'll see if we get a reaction down here for another push to the upside potentially, right? And then we'll look for potentially a long-term move down. But this is moving to the downside currently, okay? Moving to the downside currently, 80-20 retracement, right? So that's there. We get down to our 1. Similar details, right? We had 80-20 scenario was this high, right? In 118 to 127 zone. On your 1-hour time frame, you had a fresh B boundary, right? So fresh B boundary, consolidation, breakdown. Okay. So now we're pressed to the downside. We'll see how price reacts at this daily support level. Okay. You guys follow me on this? Calvin, I get your question. 1 second. Okay, so price is on the move here, right? Price is on the move. So what you can look for if you're not in this already, right, is see if you get a pullback, right? See if you get a pullback on a lower time frame for an entry opportunity. We have, from where price currently is, we got another 129 pips to that daily support level. So we'll see if we get a retracement in the short term, right? And we can go down to a lower time frame to take a look at it to get us an entry if we're not in this already to the downside, because we know on the 4-hour time frame, right, we just broke that B boundary, right? So we still got a little ways to go. Still got a little ways to go. Okay. So if we come down to 5, clean this up a bit. Clean this up a bit. Maybe. Right, you see on the 5, right, we're coming down, we're getting close to that A boundary. What I'm going to do, because I'm looking for a retracement, right, now fibs running to the downside in the direction that price is moving, right? So now if we get a pullback into our sweet spot, into the zone here, right, this could be an entry opportunity to play this to the downside, back down to this daily support level. Okay. So that's if you're not in this already, right? If you're in this, this could be an opportunity, potentially add to your trade on that move to the downside, right? Because you know, again, right, if you're tracking this off of the 4-hour time frame, your 382 is here. You got a daily support in line with a 50% retracement. right? So you got a ways to go for price. So you want to make sure that you have an entry that follows your rules, right? So if you trade those 618 retracements here on the 5-minute time frame, if you get this retracement, right, that could be an opportunity for you to play it short. Okay. If not, wait and see how price reacts at the support level. Right. If it breaks it and retests, that's an opportunity then to potentially get short. Right. If it gets to the support level and then turns over, right, and pushes higher, then we'll look at it differently. Okay. So that's the Aussie dollar there. Okay. So Calvin had a question regarding trend lines and what's the best time frame. That's all going to be based on the time frame that you decide you're going to trade on, Calvin. Right? If you're trading on the 4-hour time frame, you're gonna run your trend lines on the 4-hour time frame. Right? If you take when I say trade on, I mean taking your entries. Let me be more specific. If you take entries off of the 4-hour time frame, you're going to run your trend lines on the 4-hour time frame. Right? If you take entries off the 1-hour time frame, right? If you take entries off the 1-hour time frame, right, you'll run your trend lines on your 1-hour time frame. Now, when you're writing your rules, right, you can say a couple things, right? If you want to, one of the things that Benny and I do, right, is you'll see we'll monitor a trade off of a 4-hour time frame, right? We'll monitor the trade, but we'll take the trade off of the 1 hour or the 5-minute, right? So we'll say, okay, we got an 80-20 on the 4, right? So what we'll do is we'll drop down to the 1-hour time frame and look for the entry, right? We'll drop down here and look for the trend line break off of the inner trend line, right? So bang, enter there. Now we're on the move to the downside, right? Or if you say I'm gonna monitor my trades off of the 1 hour, but I'm going to enter off of the 15-minute or the 5. Okay, great. So what you would do is, right, and you can do this a couple ways. You can copy that fib and take it down, right? So now you zoom out, and this is your 1-hour fib on the 5-minute time frame, right? So you know where your trade is from a fib perspective, and now you are running your trend lines. I'll do it like this. You're running your trend lines from that 1-hour time frame down. Didn't come through. Go to the 15 for this example. Here we go. This will be easier here. All right. So you run your trend lines now. That's your 1-hour fib. And you run your trend lines like so. Okay. So now you can look at that entry from a different perspective. You enter off of a lower time frame, then you monitor the trade off of. Right? The higher time frames control the lower time frames, but you can go to the lower time frames to find your entry on the trade. Right? So it's going to be all based on what you write into your rules. Okay. All going to be based on what you write into your rules and what you do consistently. You don't want to change up because you'll confuse yourself and you'll get inconsistent results, right? So you as you're testing in your demo account, right? Test something for 100 trades. Is that something that I'm comfortable with? Is that something that I want to do, right? Or I desire to do, right? If it's not, test a different entry method, right? So you want to test these different ideas, right? So drop down to the 15-minute look free entry, drop down to the 5-minute look free entry, or take the entry off of the time frame that you're going to monitor your trade off of. Okay. So those are just different ideas on ways you can do that, but there isn't a best time frame. It's only based on the time frame that you decide to take your trades on. You follow me there, Calvin? Cool deal. Any questions on this Aussie dollar? Miss Cassandra, you had your hand raised for a second.
Yes, I was about to ask a question regarding when you had mentioned that you and Benny are monitoring on the 4 hour and dropping down to the 1 hour. But then I saw where I didn't see that support that you had on the 1 hour. And instead I had a 4 hour support where it's coming off of the 80-20 on my 4 hour. And then when I dropped down to my 1 hour, that was like right below that 50%. So I was about to ask you why you weren't looking at that 4 hour support. But then when I went back and pulled my daily support down, I can see now why you're saying that you're waiting to see if it comes all the way down towards that 8 area. So the more you chatted about it, I understood. It helped me better understood what you were trying to explain. I know that's a lot, but
No, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Great. Glad you're able to get the clarity. All right. And so, because you guys know, right? I don't. I only mark my support and resistance to the daily time frame, right? And that's where I stop, right? So those are the levels that I'm looking at for key reversal points, right? And then where they line up with the fib and as we put things together. So yeah, great. All right. So next on the list is the euro dollar. Why do you only use daily? I don't only use daily. I use monthly, weekly, daily. But I stopped there because those daily, what I found through my exploration phase, and as I continue to explore, those daily levels, daily, weekly, and monthly levels are the ones that hold the strongest, right? So 4 hour, 1 hour, 15-minute, 5-minute, those levels get broken more frequently. My goal is to identify areas that are going to hold strong, right? And you guys know I'm swinging a lot of the trades that I'm in, right? I have started going down to the 5-minute and taking some of those intraday entries, but the majority of my trades are swing trades, right? So I'm looking at these longer term moves, right? So of this 80-20, right, 200 pips to the downside, right? But if I was looking at a 4 hour support, right, that 4 hour support would have sat right here, right? So now I came to the support level. Now I have this level could likely get broken and price moves down, right? So I'm looking at longer term levels that have more data that will hold a lot more frequently than some of those lower time frame levels do, right? So that's all going to be based on you and your exploration phase and what you decide to do. That's what I found, and that's what I wanted to do, and it's held pretty true for me, right? But it's something that I do consistently, right? That's not something that I change. But yeah, that's why. Good questions. Good questions. All right, let's Euro USD. Let's keep rocking. So we'll come back. All right. Another similar scenario, right? Weekly time frame, we got a 50% retracement, right? Price broke down. We had price move, weekly support level here. We broke that weekly support level here. We retested it once there. Price came down, not able to get to this weekly D extension just yet. Nice strong pullback. Came back to retest this weekly level. Now we got some indecision, right? So we're back at a previous support level, now testing it as resistance. And we're getting a reaction so far this week. All right. So we continue coming down to your to your daily, right? And you see we pushed into this 50% retracement level, right? So we got a deeper retracement that occurred. This was at 382 that we hit back in August. All right, price moving to the downside, looking for the D extension get hit. And we got a reversal. We had a lot of traffic down here, right? Daily levels, right? Monthly levels, weekly levels, right? And then we got a reversal. So came back to this weekly level. We're testing it as resistance now. We want to see, do we stay below this level? Okay, got a 50% retracement. Do we stay below this level? Okay, matching the extension on the daily time frame is in line with this weekly time frame. Okay, that's our zone right there. Daily and weekly D extensions right there. Okay, so I'll take that down to our lower time frame. Boom. Okay, so we want to see, do we turn over now, or do we get another push to the upside and get to that 618 retracement level in this next weekly resistance? Okay, we'll see. We'll see. So now we get down to the 4. And again, surprise, surprise, right? Surprise, surprise. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, right? And we looked at it earlier. We said we want to see if we retest this weekly level and then bounce because we broke it. We're still hovering at that level, but 80-20 scenario, right? So this is a signal that if we close below this weekly level, right, we could continue pressing to the downside to give us a deeper retracement, right? A deeper retracement, 618, 786, right? Somewhere in this range. And then potentially, if we don't break this daily support, we could see that push to the D extension in that next weekly level, right? We'll see, right? A lot has to happen with the dollar for this to push back to the upside. Our bias on the dollar is still what it is, right? Still a hawkish Fed. So we shall see how the rest of the month moves, but right, we'll watch and see how price responds at these deeper retracement levels to see if there's a catalyst to push it to this next level to give us a 618 retracement on the daily time frame. Okay, so we'll watch to see. But right now, we're hovering at this weekly level, right? 80-20 scenario. Okay, 80-20 scenario. So again, right, if you trade, if you enter off of your 4-hour time frame, right, you're running trend lines here. So, okay. Let's see. Bring this down like that. And we'll bring it off of this low, like so. And then it would have come through like that, right? Push down, came back to retest, and we're trying to break back down, right? If, right, we're talking about consolidation, and you don't know that you're in consolidation until you're in consolidation, right? So if this price starts bouncing around, right, let me take this out. If you're not in this already, right, if price starts bouncing around, let's say price pushes back up above, comes back to, right, then that's a signal, hey, we're in consolidation. So this trend line would adjust. That's the only time this trend line is going to adjust to the outermost point, is when you have consolidation, right? So if price goes back up to the top, comes back down to the bottom and goes back up to the top, we're moving sideways, right? So we'll adjust that trend line to the outermost point and we'll wait for that trend line break there, okay? But as it stands right now, this was your trend line break here. And this was your pullback to retest that trend line and then price push down. Okay, so now we'll see if price continues on the market open to continue pressing down below, right? Or do we bounce back up? Okay, so that's only 4 hour. We drop down to the 1. See this a little bit more closely, right? And here again, shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. Price broke down. Price got to a 50% retracement on the 1, then pushed back up, gave you a retracement, right? And this is your retracement off of the trend line break on the 4-hour time frame. Okay. So now we're trying to continue breaking down, right? So we'll see if we get this continued push deeper to give us that retracement on the 4. Okay. So on your 1, right, if you were trading this off your 1-hour time frame, right, zoom out, and you run your trend lines like that. Okay. Oops. And then we come here, like so. And then we come here, like so. And then your inner trend line would have been like this. Okay. All right. Those are trend lines on your 1. Okay. Here, it looks more like a sideways push, doesn't it? Right. You got more detail here, right? And it's just hovering sideways at this weekly level. Okay. You got your break, but now we're just bouncing. Okay. I'll come like that. Destiny, is it harder to pass verification and hit goals for prop firms as a swing trader? So when it comes to the prop firm conversation, we got some we have some stuff in the videos, but one of our longer term goals is to put together some specific training for prop firm challenges. But what you want to do is you want to investigate the prop firms that have rules that meet your style of trading, right? Because not all prop firms are made equal, right? So when you're looking at FTMO is geared more toward your scalper style trading. So in using the methodology that we teach, what you would do if you were trading FTMO is you'd be taking those 5-minute setups, right? You'd be taking those 5-minute setups. You can meet it, trading off of the 1 and off of the 4 and swing some of those trades. However, I'm not sure if they changed the guideline for holding trades over the weekend, right? Because that was one of the things initially where, because we hold trades for a week, 2 weeks at a time, wouldn't necessarily work, right? So we had to close trades out early, and we had to shift things and look at lower time frames to pass that challenge. So you would want to take those lower time frame setups, right? Looking at those 80-20 scenarios that move a little bit faster to stay within that range. And the thing about the rules for these prop firms is it's all a psychological game, right? It's all a psychological game, and it's, can you manage your thought process to stay consistent with your rules to ultimately meet their guidelines. So for FTMO, right, they want to, can you scalp? Are you a scalp style trader? Because they have a shorter time frame. So you'd be taking trades off of the 5-minute or the 15-minute, right? Within the same framework that we teach, right? You don't have to change anything from that perspective. It's just going down to a lower time frame and taking some of those setups from that perspective, calculating your risk exactly the same, right? And you can meet those verification phases that way. On the flip side, right, the 5%ers, they give you 6 months, right? They give you 6 months. Therefore, you don't have to increase your risk. You don't have to scalp if you don't want to, right? If you want to trade off the 5-minute, you can, to meet those goals in a shorter time frame, right? But if you're a swing trader, you can also swing trade, right? You got 6 months, right? So it allows you a little bit more freedom mentally to not feel like you have to press, right? That's the thing. You get into those high pressure situations and you feel like you have to press. You feel like you have to change things, and you really don't, right? So you have to find a prop firm that fits your style of trading, Okay. The one we like the best is 5%ers because it gives you that freedom, right? To trade either style. You can be a swing trader, which we really like, or you can trade on your lower time frames, right? That part does not matter. You just have to stay within their risk guidelines at that point, right? And in their drawdown guidelines. So, yeah.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah. Yo.
Hey, so they've even with FTMO, they've even changed up a bit, right? So now you can even have a swing account, so it's less leverage.
Oh, right. I forgot
Right?
about that.
They do 1 to 30 where you can't keep it. I mean, you still have to meet that same criteria in regards to the 2 phases, but you can convert it to a swing account 1 to 30 with FTMO. I think now too, if you're within a certain amount of profit, they can extend it for you a little bit to get trial phases. So they've made a lot of changes. Of course, like you mentioned, the fivers, and even the one with, one I really like, right, is that the one with the Forex analytics, where there's no time frame.
Yeah,
it's more expensive, but there's no time frame, and I think you keep whereas with the fivers it's 50%. I think there's 75%.
75. Yep.
It's 75%. So you just have to stay within the drawdown parameters. And then even with an FTMO, with our strategy, even with one of their normal accounts, you can meet the criteria within the time frame, right? We've been talking, during our sessions about playing breaks and retests to the zones, right? Go from zone to zone. So you're in a smaller setup. So even, like you said, mainly like your 5-minute, 15-minute, but even if you're a 4-hour chart trader, just trade zone to zone. So what we teach is really relative to all of those situations, right? But then it comes down to your trading style and your tolerance, which is what Ryan is alluding to when you got to do your research on the prop firms in regards to their rules and their criteria.
Yeah, appreciate that, bro. I forgot about those changes. Yep. So it's not harder, right? It just takes discipline and practice. That's it. Cool deal. Any questions on this Euro USD? You're welcome. No. All right. Cool deal. Let's NZD dollar. NZD dollar. There we go. Let's pop back out. Daily time frame. Bang. Daily time frame. Let me double check something real quick, just to make sure I'm in line. Oh, a little off. There we go. This is our daily time frame. There we go. Okay. So, been a beautiful move so far. Fresh AB boundary, push, right? Just shy of a 38.2 retracement. Broke this previous daily this was a support level, right? Yep. Broke this level, right? Coming back, we'll see if we retest that level or if we're able to push back below it. Okay. Actually, let's do this. I think this level is old. So it was a support level here that we broke through. Broke through, came back, broke through it again. We're going to change this daily level, right? It's been broken twice. So we're going to adjust that to there. This is our resistance level here, right? Zoom in and show you what I'm looking at. Okay. That level was here. So it was a support, swing low there, right? Broke it, came back, broke it back to the upside, right? So this level is no longer relevant. This is a daily resistance level though. Okay. So that's our daily resistance level. That level is deleted. And there we go. All right. So push down, came back to retest this daily resistance level. We're getting a reaction, right? Similar to those other dollar pairs that came into key levels, right? So getting a reaction here, we're pressing down. right? We got another support level. These are just updates that I'm doing on the fly here. Looks like I missed some, right? We got a swing low here, right? So this is another daily support level.
Hey, Ryan, where did you pull your fib from? Because I'm not getting the same fib that you're getting.
Right here. Is it
Can I-
off? Let's see. Let's see. It might be off. Let's run it again.
Okay. Mm,
It was off a little bit, yeah, but there we go. We're still at still shy of a 382 though, right? But I ran it off this high all the way back here.
Okay, got you. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So I came into this daily level, 236 retracement, right? And we're getting a reaction. Okay. So now we want to see, do we make our way back down to this daily support level? Okay. So we drop down time frames, come down to the 4. Come back, see what I got happening. That 4 hour got taken out, I believe. Go. So we're going to start our 4 hour fib from this high here. Okay. Run our fib from there. Boom. On the 4, right, we had an 80-20 scenario. Shallow retracement, 118 to 127 zone. Boom. Right. Ran into a 50% retracement in line with the daily resistance level. Take this out. Right. And we're getting a reaction. Bang. Price turning over. Okay. I want to move to the downside. Okay. So that again, that caveat, right? Daily resistance in line with a 50% retracement. It's something you can add into your rules if that's something that you test and you're comfortable with. Okay. But there it is again, right? Consolidation at that level, breakdown. So pushing back down to the downside. Okay. So we're reversing now potentially. Okay. We'll see how price responds when we get to the trend line and potentially this daily support level. We'll see what happens. Okay. So as we get down to the 1, overall bias on this is short, right? We're all in agreement there. Overall bias is short. We're just in a retracement phase, right? Down retracement zone. Okay. But overall bias off the daily time frame is still short. And fundamentally is still short. So now we come down to the 1. Those got taken out as well. Do is we'll come back to that high and we'll run our fibs on the 1 hour just to show. Yeah, no, those got taken out. So we'll start our fib here. Those got taken out, push back to the upside. So we'll come here. Those got taken out as well. Again. Right, and you see the fibs continue to get taken out to the upside. So we'll flip our fib now, come to the low, run them from the low to the high. Okay. And surprise, surprise. Shallow retracement, 118 to 127 zone, in line with that daily resistance level. Trying to make our way to the downside. All right, so another 80-20 scenario. Price is broken our trend line. So we got our trend lines running to the upside. All right. Run another trend line here. Run another trend line here. Okay. That was your highest point, but again, you see, right, it's choppy, moves sideways through your trend line. So you adjust it out and bang, you got your break there. You got a pullback here and price is pushing to the downside, right? So it's the NZD dollar, 80-20 scenario, broke our trend line, pushing to the downside, starting to move, right? Similar to the rest of those dollar pairs. Right, similar to the rest of those dollar pairs on the move to the downside. So we got a little bit of ways to go, right? Gets at 382, it's 158 from where price currently is, right? If we get down to that support level, it's 252. Okay. Remember, you got a previous daily resistance level here that could come in line. So we'll watch that when price gets there. But we're moving to the downside. So if you're not in this already, wait to see if you get a little pullback. And to do that, you can drop down to your 5-minute time frame, right? Run those fibs off the high. Bang, right? So now, a couple scenarios here, right? A couple scenarios. Do you get a pullback now, price push up, or you get a push down into this 118, 127 zone, and then get a pullback, right? So if you're trading these 5-minute setups, right? You can wait to see if you get a reversal in this 118, 127 zone, play the retracement, get you a high price, right? And then you can look to get short. Right? And play that back down to 250 pips back down to that support level. Okay. So we got a first heavy boundary here on the 5. We'll see what happens. Price is pushing down now. We'll see if we get a reversal to give us a high price, right? If not, allow the trade to do what it's going to do, right? Allow it to do what it's going to do. We'll wait until it gets into our zone, and then we will trade from there. Okay. Questions?
I initially had everything aligning, but it looks like my fib on the daily and my fib on the daily wasn't accurate and my fib on the 4-hour, but even though they weren't accurate, everything was aligning up where I was getting confluence around that 1 hour 80-20. So that,
Yep. Still put a lot of times, even if you run them from a different spot and you're looking at those smaller waves, right? A lot of times it'll still put you in a similar zone, right? Because on this 1 hour, right? On this 1 hour, at the end of the day, you're still going to be running those fibs from the bottom to the top because they got taken out, right? On the higher time frames with the overall bias, could be adjusted a little bit, but 50% retracement or 618 retracement, right? But you'll still get put into the same zone, and overall, you'll still have the same bias of short, right? So in the beauty of the fibs is the sequence is going to play out regardless, right? So you'll still see that alignment come into play on one of those time frames. Yeah. Good work. Good work. No questions on the NZD dollar? Okay. Then we'll wrap it up on this pound CAD. Wrap it up on the pound CAD. We shall see what happens, but look, right? So again, we'll come back to the weekly real quick, right? We broke down, right? Broke a previous weekly level, right? Came back to retest that weekly level. Okay. Came back to retest that weekly level, getting a reaction. The daily time frame. Price has been pushing, right? Pushing to the upside, trying to inch its way up, right? But what did it do? Shallow retracement, inched up, came down, inched up, pushed into that 118, 127 zone. Pushed into the 118, 127 zone. Shallow retracement, 118, 127. Now the question is, do we push back below this daily level? Come back down into this range, right? Because we're ranging for a little bit here. Okay. So do we come back below this weekly level and make our way back to the bottom? Right? That's my initial question. But initially, right, we pushed up above that weekly level, but we pushed into that 118 and 127 zone. So this still tells me that we could be in for this 80-20 scenario and it's pushed back down, right? If we close back below this weekly level, right, could get some consolidation happening there. Okay, but shallow retracement 118, 127. As we told you guys, our eyes light up when we see that, regardless of the time frame. Right, so I'm watching that closely. So now we go down to the 4. Right, on your 4 hour, it gets a little wacky. Right, you got a 382 retracement here, and then price pushed into that zone. Right, and now we're playing around at this weekly resistance level. Okay, you got daily resistance up here as well. But we're hovering around in the zone. So we want to see, are we able to, again, close below this weekly level to break down? Because on the daily time frame, we got an 80-20 scenario, right? 80-20 scenario. So now come down to your 1, right? Similar to your 4, right? It's just bouncing back and forth. Just bouncing back and forth. So it gets a little tough on these lower time frames because we already got a 382, but we got an 80-20 on the higher time frame. So if we get our trend line break, which would also be in line with breaking back below this weekly level, right? That could be an indication for us. Pull back and retest that level. That could be an indication for us that we can get short. You guys follow me on that? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So on this one, I would add in an additional layer of confirmation, right? Of not only do I get a break of the trend line, but I also want to see this pullback in this weekly level hold and not push back above, right? Looking to see if we add a second entry. I'm with you, Joy. I'm with you on that. All right. So break trend line, break back below the weekly level, come back, retest that weekly level, and hold that. Right. If we get that action, right, I'd like to see that, and then that would be opportunity to get short. Right. That's what I want to see there. If we break back above, we could push back to the top, and this could be a range that we play in. Okay. So that's the additional layer of confirmation I would add to this trade to then give me the opportunity to get short. Okay. And then if we do that, then I'm going to monitor off of the daily time frame and look for this action here, and we'll reassess when we get to that daily support level. Right. Which on this one, if we break back below, if we break back below, that's 624 pips back to the support level. If we get to that 382, you're looking at over 800 pips to the downside, right? Now, if you come down to your 5, right, you can also look at it from a 5-minute perspective. Say, okay, where is this trade at? On your 5-minute, surprise, surprise, shallow retracement, didn't get to that 382, pushed up, didn't get to your D extension, broke down, right? So even on your 5-minute, you haven't gotten to a 382 yet, right? So now we're starting to break down to the downside. Okay. So 5-minute gives us that indication as well. Questions on the pound calf? No? Cool deal. Benny, I know you're in the basement, bro. You got anything before we wrap it up, man?
No, sir. Great session.
Appreciate you,
Great
man.
session. Lots of opportunities shaping up out there. Continue to be patient as always. And I look forward to seeing everybody tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, sir. Miss Cassandra, you got a question?
I have a real quick question. Last night we were talking about the Telegram. Now I have the open one where you can go in and post. Should we have both? Because I had the initial one where we couldn't post, but when I received the link to the other one, I deleted the first one.
No, you're supposed to stay in that first one too.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's okay. The information goes to the second one.
Mhm.
So you're not missing out on anything because you're still going to get it. So that, I guess, it's kind of up to you. If you don't want to keep that first one, that's fine. That information ultimately gets filtered to that second one immediately, so you'll still see everything.
okay.
So you don't
Okay.
have to keep it, I guess.
All right. Just wanted to be sure. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. All right, good people. You guys have an awesome, awesome Thursday. We'll be back at it tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Talk to you soon. Peace.
Thank you.